Hello, this is Jeffrey Kendall, Pelican in the Wilderness. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is my third and last video on mask and law. In my first video, I focused on natural law. In my second video, I focused on the virtue of justice. In this video, I want to look at mask laws themselves. What I do not want to do is to argue whether or not this community or that community should or should not have mask laws. The answer may vary from community to community. However, if you argue that all of America should wear masks, I probably would not disagree. What I do want to do is to look at the laws themselves and ask whether or not the laws are inherently good. People opposed to mask laws on principle think they are inherently bad. I'm going to look at mask laws through the unique American perspective of freedom because people who oppose mask laws proffer freedom as the basis of their opposition. Now, there are a handful of ways to evaluate laws: eternal law, natural law, enforceability, good order, the common good, individual rights, the Constitution. I'm not going to take the time to look at all of these different ways to evaluate a law, but we need to know that there are multiple ways to evaluate laws. A favorite way for me is freedom. I'm glad we are passionate about freedom in the United States. I'm glad we argue about freedom in the United States. I'm glad we have debates about freedom in the United States. It's one of the things that makes us American. But we live in a paradox. We live in a free country governed by laws. Said differently, we live in a free country because of laws. But we want and need good laws because good laws create freedom. Bad laws destroy freedom. An example of a good law or a good set of laws: traffic laws. Traffic laws restrict my freedom somewhat. I cannot drive down the road at 100 miles an hour. I cannot blast through intersections disregarding stop signs and stop lights. But because I accept small restrictions on my freedom, I gain a tremendous freedom in return. I can travel freely and safely anywhere I want. To the store, to visit family and friends, to travel. Not only do I gain personal freedom, I also gain economic freedom. A lot of goods travel the roads, and traffic laws make interstate commerce possible. An orange grown in Florida, I can buy in Tennessee. For me, that's convenience. But for businesses, that's economic freedom. And we all benefit from economic freedom. Now let's look at the opposite scenario. Without traffic laws, I would not be able to travel safely. My freedom would be curtailed. Without traffic laws, businesses would not be able to operate. Prices would skyrocket. Supply chains would break down. Our economy would collapse. There's a connection between law, safety, and freedom. The absence of traffic laws is not freedom, but anarchy. Traffic laws are good laws because they create freedom. Here is an example of a bad law or bad laws. Laws that legalized slavery. I consider slavery the original sin of the United States. Now, the First Peoples might argue that the original sin of the United States is the genocide perpetrated upon them, and I would not disagree. But legalized slavery was written into our Constitution in 3 places. Legalized slavery was codified in the highest civic law of our land. Now, these bad laws in the Constitution do not make the Constitution bad. I like the Constitution. But neither can the Constitution make bad laws good. Laws that legalized slavery were bad laws. The freedom of millions of people was annihilated. Again, let's look at the opposite scenario. Emancipation, or the abolition of slavery, created freedom, gave freedom to millions of people. Emancipation was a great law, or a great set of laws, because they created freedom. The lesson from these two examples is, good laws create freedom. Bad laws destroy freedom. Now, before I tackle mass laws directly, I want to recall something I said in my second video about the art and science of law in the United States. The art and science of law in the United States is deciding between conflicting rights. I'm old enough to remember debates about smoking. I remember when smoking was permitted indoors. In that debate, our country decided to restrict the rights of smokers in favor of the rights of non-smokers because of health. We always choose health. Okay, mask laws. Here's the restriction a mask law imposes upon us. That's it. That's the whole restriction. That's a very small restriction. In return, we protect our health. We protect our neighbor's health. To be healthy is to be free. We can travel. We can conduct business. Churches can open. Governments can function. Now, none of these operations are what they were before. But with mask laws, we restore a semblance of freedom, a semblance of the operations that characterize freedom in the United States. Again, let's look at the opposite scenario. COVID-19 is ravaging parts of our country. To be sick is to be in prison. Remember what I said in my first video, our bodies are beholden to the law of nature. In the places where the virus is rampant, restrictions on travel, business, government, churches are all greater than in places where the virus is not rampant. Without mask laws, the situation would be much worse. The absence of mask laws foster chaos, disorder, dysfunction. The opposite of safety, good order, and freedom. Mask laws are good laws because mask laws create freedom. Thanks for watching Pelican in the Wilderness. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.